Oh,
What?
we can't do this.
Why?
Because I don't have an apple. Welcome back to Plants Not Plastic. I'm Nikita and I bring you recipes that are delicious, inexpensive, simple, and healthy. Today I am bringing you a recipe for what I'm calling a classic cornbread. I personally find cornbread really comforting. I grew up eating chili and cornbread as a regular recipe in my childhood household. I actually didn't put chili over rice until I was an adult, and the first time that someone told me that they did that, I thought that it was really weird because for me, chili has always gone with cornbread. I'm excited to bring you this recipe today because I find that some cornbread recipes can turn out dry or dense, where mine, even without using flour, oil, butter, or dairy, it still turns out super fluffy, soft, and moist. This recipe is also gluten-free and takes less than 30 minutes to make, and as always, it is vegan-friendly, whole foods, plant-based, and has no oil or butter. My recipe is adapted from John McDougall's website. Some of you may have heard of him, but if not, I would definitely recommend checking him out. I am planning to go into why I eat the way I do at some point, but he's a great starting point, especially if you're interested in evidence-based nutrition. And with that, let's get into the recipe. To make this recipe, you will need 1 cup of cornmeal, 1 cup of oat flour, which you can make yourself by blending it in a blender. You can also use regular or whole wheat flour, a teaspoon of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of lemon juice, a cup of plant-based milk. You can also use water, it just won't be quite as rich. 1/3 of an apple. You can also sub this for a 1/4 cup of applesauce, a 1/4 cup of sugar, and then a 1/2 cup of corn. First thing you'll do is preheat your oven to 400 degrees. You're gonna start by mixing your dry ingredients together in a medium mixing bowl. Next, you're gonna take your apple and cut it into a few pieces and throw it into a blender with your wet ingredients, so your water or plant-based milk, your sugar, and your lemon juice. If you're using applesauce, you can skip the blender. Basically what I'm doing is taking the apple and turning it into an applesauce by blending it with the other wet ingredients. Then you'll just combine your wet with your dry and mix them together. Once it's all mixed, you'll just fold in your corn, and then you'll just transfer it to an 8 by 8 inch baking pan. Stick it in the oven and let it bake for 20 to 22 minutes or until a knife comes out of the center clean. Looks good. Looks good, so I just have to let it cool down. This is really good just by itself as it is, but if you wanted to, you could add 1 diced jalapeno to it to make a jalapeno cornbread. So this recipe will make 9 pieces of cornbread, and per slice, you're getting about 11 grams of fiber, 7 grams of fat, and 25 grams of sugar. Now, as a comparison, if you were gonna buy like a pre-made mix from the store of cornbread, per slice, it'll be just 3 grams of fiber with over 30 grams of fat and 32 grams of sugar. The homemade version also has way more nutrients than the store-bought variety, and per 500 calories, in terms of volume, you'll get to eat more than twice as much of the homemade compared to the store-bought. In terms of cost, this entire recipe will cost you $3.32, which comes down to 37 cents per slice. When doing a cost comparison, to be honest, if you're going to buy a pre-made mix from the store, it is going to be cheaper at about 25 cents per slice, but you're still having to make it yourself. And really, when we're talking about a 12-cent difference, to be able to get something that is way healthier and still tastes great, it's really worth it to just make it yourself with the few extra ingredients as opposed to buying that pre-made mix. Since buying pre-made cornbread from the grocery store is not really all that common, I did do kind of a quick look around to see what the cost would be if you were gonna go buy it from a restaurant. And you are looking at somewhere between like 50 to $1.40 per slice. So in terms of that, it makes way more sense to be making cornbread at home as opposed to buying it somewhere else, especially when it's this easy. So that's it for today. If you try out this recipe, please let me know by commenting below. If you like this video, please do subscribe and click the bell to get notifications when I put out new content. You can also subscribe to my website at PlantsNotPlastic.com, as well as follow me on social media. All that information is detailed below in the description. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.